Okay, thank you. Welcome for our lesson. Today, I want us to proceed from where we left last time, of which we were discussing about energy transformation. Last time I was winding up energy transformation in a radio. So this is now the last part of it before we move to the next subtopic. Okay, energy transformation in a simple electromagnet. Now, what is an electromagnet? An electromagnet is a type of a magnet which is made from a source of electricity that is wound on an iron, soft iron, metal, or a nail. So I will start by an activity of making a simple electromagnet. So these are some of the materials you have to collect before you start the activity. You should have dry cells that will have to be the source of chemical energy. And then you have a long insulated electric wire. And then you have an iron bar or a nail. These are the materials that are supposed to be collected before you start the activity. So how will the activity be? Connect the dry cells like that, then connect the conductor, which is a wire that is having a switch, and then wound that wire on a nail, which can be 7 centimeters long. Then switch on the you switch on this switch to make sure that the current is now flowing. Now, this nail, you will have small pins that will be put near the nail and observe what is going to happen when the current is flowing and also when it is switched off. So you switch on, observe what is happening to the pins which are put close to the nail, and also you switch off and compare what is happening. Now, we say these are the observations that you will see on the simple electromagnet that we will have formed here. We say when the circuit is switched on, the drawing pins, these drawing pins are put next to the iron bar or the nail. You find that the drawing pins are attracted to the nail. When the circuit is switched off, the pins are not attracted. Those are the two observations that are made. When the current is flowing, when the circuit is complete, you find that those drawing pins are attracted. But when it is switched off, the pins are not attracted. Why? Because when it is switched on, the nail becomes a magnet because of the current in the circuit. When the nail or the soft iron rod is wound with an insulated wire and the current is passed through it, it becomes a magnet. But when the current is not connected, it is not a magnet. So it is a temporary magnet. It is not a permanent magnet. It is only a magnet when the current is flowing. But when there is no current, it is no longer a magnet. So we say when the current is switched off, it loses its magnetism. It loses its magnetism because I've said that it is not permanent. It is not permanently a permanent magnet. It is a temporary magnet. This kind of magnet is called electromagnet. Electromagnet. Why is it given the name electromagnet? It is because it is formed due to the current that is moving in the circuit. So because of the current in the circuit, we have electricity. So electric means electricity. So a magnet is formed. So the two words are joined to form electromagnet. That is why it is given the name. Now, how is transformation of energy in a simple electromagnet that we have formed here? We start with chemical energy, which are found in the dry cells. And then we have electric energy, which is in the wire that is conducting electricity from the dry cells as it goes to the coils. And then lastly, we have magnetic energy, where we are having a magnet which is formed here in the wounds of the wire on the nail. So this is energy transformation in a simple electromagnet. I have said we have chemical energy which is found in the dry cells, and then we have electric energy which is found in the along the wire, and also we have magnetic energy which is formed here at the wounds. Now, what are the use of simple electromagnet? These electromagnets are used to make devices like electric bells and also grains for lifting heavy iron objects. So the electric bells are operated by electromagnet, and also the grains which are used for lifting heavy iron objects. Now, how can you increase the magnetism in a simple electromagnet? How can you increase? We say you can either use the longer insulated wire that can make more wounds. So if you have a lot of wounds on this nail, you find that the magnet which is formed here is stronger than when you are using a shorter insulated wire. It means you will have less wounds, so the magnet formed, it will not be stronger. The second, you can use a stronger source of energy. Now, we have our chemical energy, which is the dry cells. So if you have somebody is using one dry cell and another one is using 3, you find that the one using 3 dry cells is having stronger source of energy. So the magnet formed when you are using 3 is stronger than whoever is using one dry cell. So up to that point, we have discussed all about energy transformation in all the gadgets I started discussing last time. So allow me to move to the next subtopic, which is energy conservation. Energy transformation. So an electromagnet has been summarizing that subtopic, energy transformation. So we are moving to the last subtopic under energy. The last subtopic under energy, which is conservation of energy. Conservation of energy. Conservation. Okay. You find that we discuss all about the types of energy. We had chemical energy, heat energy, light energy, electric energy, magnetic energy. All those energy are very useful in our daily life. So when you are using them, make sure that you are conserving, because it is needed tomorrow for purposes in our daily life, tomorrow and or in future. So how can we define energy conservation? Energy conservation means protecting, preserving and managing energy well. Energy conservation means preserving, protecting and managing energy. Well, so all the types of energy that we discussed is very important in our life, and you are supposed to use it and manage it properly so that it is not exhausted. You find that there are 3 methods of conserving energy. The first method is using energy sparingly. The second way of conserving energy is using energy efficient devices. Using energy efficient devices. That is the second way of conserving energy. And lastly, we have using renewable sources of energy. Using renewable sources of energy. Using renewable sources of energy. Now, I said you have to manage the energy when you are using it, in that it can be useful tomorrow for other people and also yourself. Let us use energy sparingly. Use it in limited to make sure that you are not exhausting it. Number two, make sure the device that you are using is using little energy. It's not using a lot of energy. And then lastly, make sure that you are using renewable sources of energy. Now let me start by discussing using energy. The first one, using energy sparingly. What do I mean when I say using energy sparingly? Okay, now how can you use energy sparingly? First of all, for example, you are using fuel. Make sure that number one, these are energy can be sparingly used by one, use public transport whenever possible. Use public transport whenever possible. When it is possible, you can use public means of transport instead of private. And then we have share transport when traveling in the same direction. This is also another way of using energy sparingly. And number three, use vehicles with low fuel consumption. Number three, use vehicles with low fuel consumption. That is another way of using energy sparingly. Number four, we have when possible, use trains. When possible, use trains for transporting goods and people to their destination. If possible, it's better to use trains for transporting goods and people to the destination where they are supposed to be. And then next, use cheap means of transport. Use cheap means of transport like bicycle. And then in number six, for short distances, walk. When you are traveling short distances, walk. Number 7, using energy sparingly, improve road network. Improve road network in a country. And then we have number 7, number 8. And then we have number 8. Switch off lights when not in use. Switch off lights when not in use. And then in number 9, we have use water sparingly. Use water sparingly to reduce the cost of pumping. To reduce the cost of pumping. Okay, now these are some of the ways of using energy sparingly. The first one, I said that energy can be sparingly used by using public transport whenever possible. For example, you are traveling to Nairobi from Garissa. It is better to use the public means of transport, like Ryan bus services, we have Musin bus services, we have Planet. Those are public means of transportation instead of hiring private means of transportation. You find that you are only one person in your private and it is consuming a lot of fuel. So that is not using energy sparingly. Make sure that you use public means of transportation where you are so many people in one bus. You don't consume a lot of fuel. Number 2, we said that share transport whenever traveling to the same direction. For example, we are 4 people and we are traveling to Modiga or Modigari. You find that I have my private vehicle, only I alone. Another person again, another vehicle, so 4 vehicles are traveling toward the same direction instead of sharing, and we bought one vehicle in because we are conserving energy. Number 3, I said use vehicles with low fuel consumption. There are different types of vehicles. You find that there is a filter, we have a Brobox, we have a tuk-tuk, we have so many types of vehicles. So you find that one type of vehicle is consuming a lot of fuel than the other. So you can choose and have the vehicle that is using a little amount of fuel. Number 4, we said when possible, use trains for transporting goods and people to their destination. So if you can access where there is a railway and you are neighboring to that railway, you can use it to transport your goods to whenever it is supposed to be taken. And also people can transport a lot of so many people and goods in and it conserves fuel. Number 5, we said use cheap means of transport like bicycle. You find that the bicycle does not use fuel, so it is only cycling, and you find that your body will have exercise. Your body will be physically fit because you are cycling and it is not using fuel. So this is another very important way of conserving energy sparingly. And then I said walk for short distances. For example, you are moving from your home to school and it is something like 7 or less kilometers. Now instead of boarding vehicle, you can walk. And then you find that you are also doing practice. Your body will be physically fit and you cannot be easily attacked by these diseases. So in short distances, don't use tuk-tuk or filter, just walk. And then we have number 7, improve road network in a country. You find that if we have two countries, one of the country, for example, let me talk of Uganda and Kenya. One of the countries having good network of road, and another one, the roads are very poor. You find that the roads which are poor consumes a lot of fuel, because the driver will have to struggle moving up and down so to reach wherever you will be going. So in a country that is having good network of road, then there will be conservation of energy sparingly. And then we have number 8, switch off lights when not in use. You find that in a house, maybe the globes are lighting during daytime. So maybe you are traveling to town and you forget to switch them off. So you find that you are wasting a lot of electricity because they are on and nobody is using them. So switch lights off when not in use. And then lastly, use water sparingly to reduce the cost of pumping. You find that water from its source, it is pumped, and that system of process of pumping needs a lot of fuel. So if you have been pumped water, wherever you are staying, use that water sparingly to make sure that you don't need a lot of water to use. So to that point, I will stop from there. So next time we will start discussing about using energy efficient devices as we proceed. Thank you very much.